Hello everybody, Prowl here, and today I have a video that you are absolutely going to want to see. I'm going to show you the easiest and best way to get XP in all of Minecraft. This is what I would consider to be a mid-game farm, but it is capable of getting you XP more and better and faster than any other farm or any other thing that exists in Minecraft, so much so that I think this might actually be the fastest XP farm that exists in Minecraft. But it doesn't all necessarily have to be that way. It's going to have some customization options. If I turn this side on, for example, that's running a very minimal setup, you'll see here we get a few silverfish dropping down and we get a little bit of XP that comes out of it. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, we can actually get a whole lot, an infinite amount practically of XP, or at the very least until your device decides to spontaneously combust. I will show you how to make this or that and everything in between, because guess what? You make them the exact same way. The only difference is how many tridents that we use, and I have all those calculations here ready for you to show you how many you're going to need to get the amount of XP that you want to get. Let's hop in before this world explodes. Okay, so as we get started here, the materials that you see listed on screen are going to be the materials that you need. In addition to what you see here, you're going to need, at a bare minimum, 2 tridents, or as you scale this up to make it faster, you're going to need 1 trident in the lower chamber that kills the silverfish for every 6 tridents you have in the upper chamber, which hits the creaking mob. And in case you're wondering, Prowl, how do I get a creaking in here and how is it alive during the daytime? Don't worry, I will show you that, but it is going to require that you get a creaking heart, a couple of pale oak logs, and you're going to have a name tag to name the creaking, and then we'll be able to hopefully pretty easily spawn him exactly where we need to. And again, I'll show you how to do all of that once we get to that point. This does have 2 different kill chambers to it. It has a lower and an upper. The lower one is where these silverfish fall to kill them. The upper one is where they get generated in. Yes, they need to be in separate chambers because I've done a lot of testing, and just trust me, they need to be in separate chambers or this thing's not going to work properly for you. And finally, before we get started, this trident killer is a design based off of one I saw by a creator called RS Built. It's, to my knowledge, the fastest trident killer that exists. And I took what he had and I modified it for my needs. So if you're looking to use this for anything other than the creaking and making XP, you're going to probably want to use RS Built's version because he shows you how to get all of the drops and stuff out of it. Silverfish, they don't drop stuff, so we don't have to worry about that. Anyways, with all that out of the way, let's actually hop into building this. I'm going to do this a little bit different this time. You guys are going to have a top-down and a first-person view on the screen at the same time for me building it. I'm not going to be talking during the building because you really just need to follow the trident killers step by step, and then we'll talk about all the mechanics and how things work and getting this thing functioning for you guys after the build is done. So let's hop in. All right, we're almost done here with the build. I hope looking at it that way just kind of made it nice and easy. I forgot 2 parts though. I think I like cut this side off right here. So just a few blocks and a few pieces of redstone dust right there where you could tell it was missing, because the redstone signal comes up here, loops, hits there, loops, hits there, and then loops and hits there. So that was the only part that I was missing. And you should know things work by flipping the lever and you see the trident killer running, flipping the lever and you see the trident killer running. Let me go ahead and get this out the way. And let's talk about a couple things in terms of how this thing works. That way you understand what's going on before we get the creaking in. So there's trapdoors here. The reason why is because we're going to have a trident in here, or multiple tridents in here, that are hitting the creaking mob. And I'll explain to you how to get it in here and why it stays here in a little bit. But we'll get the creaking mob in here. A trident or multiple tridents will hit it, and silverfish are going to spawn. We need 2 trident killer chambers because one just doesn't work. I tested one. They don't get killed in here when the creaking's in there. I don't quite know why. It has something to do, I guess, with the collisions and the way things work. But in either event, when you do this, the trapdoors flicker and the silverfish fall down. I don't know if there is a better way to potentially do this. I did initially have a way that like would water flush them out, but the problem with that was that takes a little while. So you end up having a ton of silverfish in your world. It's a lot laggier that way. So this way they drop down. A few get stuck up here, but they do work themselves down. If you end up spawning in quite a lot of them, then once your potion wears off, you'll have to run the trident killer for several more seconds to knock the rest of the silverfish down. You could always end up with a couple left up top, but if you leave it running for a little while, or I mean, you can just leave them in there, it's fine. It doesn't really matter either way. So next, we need to get our creaking inside of here, and we do not want the creaking to attack us. So that can be a little annoying, but that's how it works sometimes. What I recommend that you do, we don't want him to spawn like down here on any of these blocks. So we do want to spawn him up a little bit higher. So we're going to do 2 things. We're going to give him a couple extra blocks to spawn on up here. And then we're just going to go up a few blocks. Something like this should be fine. About 5, 6, 7 blocks, something around there. Put down your log, put down your creaking heart, put down your other log. Now you have to wait for it to be nighttime. You'll probably want like some type of like little platform coming off of here. That way you can see when the creaking spawns in. Give him just a little bit of time and he should spawn in. There we go. Okay. So the main thing is make sure you continue to face him so he doesn't attack you. You're going to want to go ahead and hit him with the name tag. Sub to Prowl is probably the best name tag to use. And we just need to push him over. So if we knock these blocks out the way and we get over here, should just be able to pop him right in. There we go. At this point, we don't need to worry about him any longer. We can cover this over, although we will want to leave ourself room for throwing some tridents in. And now when it turns daytime, when he's name tagged, it's not going to despawn. So you're all good. Now let's get to the fun part here of talking about how and why this works and how you can pretty much decide to get as much or as little XP from this as you want. And the only real variable here is going to be how many tridents you use. And I have calculated how many tridents you need to mend up your tools, how fast it'll mend them up. I figured out all of that for you. I did a lot of testing for a long time. That way you don't have to have any questions in how this is going to work. Also, I should probably explain this gold block right here. This is your AFK spot. When you AFK at this, you're going to want to kind of push in like right here in the middle. Don't get too close over to the edge, because if you spawn in a lot of these silverfish, even not even a lot, but definitely if you do a lot of them, when they fall down, they can hit you and knock you back. So if you stand right here, the XP will make its way up to you and the silverfish will not hit you. I've tested this for a long time, and that spot right in the middle of that block against the glass pane works absolutely perfectly. Now, you're going to want to get a few things. You're going to want to get a splash potion of infestation. You are going to get those by getting a brewing stand, which you can find in villages, or you can also craft them. But to craft them, you're going to have to go to the nether, which you're going to have to do anyways, because you're going to need blaze rods, which you get from the nether. And then you're going to need nether wart, also comes from the nether. You're going to need stone and gunpowder. So the ingredients are fairly easy when it comes to brewing. Stone is your like main ingredient here that's going to be easy to get, and that makes it the infestation potion. Also, you're going to want to make it a splash potion because we need it to hit the creaking. Now you can go ahead, and if you wanted to load a whole bunch of them in here, you could put a hopper in a chest, or you could just throw them in. Totally up to you. Now, when we hit that, it will splash the creaking whenever we press the button here. Now, we don't want to splash them quite yet because we need to get some tridents in. So the main question here is going to be, how many tridents do you need? And my question to you is, what are you trying to use this for? Me, I'm using this to mend up my pickaxes. So I want to make sure that I can mend those up, and I want to be able to mend those up quickly. So netherite tools and swords have 2,032 durability, and every 1 XP that you get mends up the tools that you have by 2. And of course, you have to have mending on your tools, on your stuff to have it healed by this. So I've done some calculations, and I'm not going to bore you with all of the numbers. I'm just going to tell you what you need, okay? So on average, 1 trident over the course of the entire 3-minute period that the creaking is being affected by the potion, on average, 1 trident is going to get you 680 XP, which means if you want to mend up 1 tool from 1 durability to full in the full 3-minute time that the potion lasts, meaning the most efficient manner, you need 2 tridents in here. 2 tridents will mend your tool up to full. Keep in mind, there's a little bit of variance here, how many silverfish pop out, but 2 should get you there pretty easy. Now, what if you want to mend up 1 tool a minute, or you want to mend up a total of 3 tools in a total of the 3-minute time that the potion lasts? You're going to need 5 tridents to do that. So if you put 5 tridents in here, 1 tool will get mended up in a minute, and you will be able to mend up 3 tools in that period of time. And lastly, what if you want this thing to go incredibly fast? What if you want to have 1 tool mend up every 10 seconds? You don't want to sit here and wait. You just want to come in, hit the button for the potion, wait a few seconds, your tools be mended up to full, and be able to walk away. 27 tridents is going to be how many tridents that you want. And we're specifically talking about the top section here. The bottom section is going to need its own tridents. You'll probably want some type of walkway that leads you into this. And I've also calculated this for you. For every 6 tridents you have in the creaking section, you're going to want 1 trident down here. So if you have anywhere from 1 to 3 tridents up here, you're going to want 1 trident down there. Anywhere from 7 to 12 tridents up here, you're going to want 2 tridents down there. Okay. So for every 6 up here, 1 down there is what you're going to want. And you always round up. Once you go from 6 to 7, you add that extra trident down here. So let's give a demonstration of how fast this thing is. And in case you're wondering, now that you know a lot of the numbers, how many tridents did I have in the intro? There's 200 of them in there. I wanted to see how crazy that thing could go. And by the way, 200 tridents in there in 3 minutes gets you 170 levels. It's absolutely insane. You can scale this thing up until your device breaks. As many tridents as you want, as many tridents as you can, until your device lags out and the trident killers stop working. Please don't break your worlds. So let's go ahead and give a quick demonstration. We are going to give ourselves enough XP to, let's do a moderate amount. Let's do 5 tridents up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the amount that we would need to mend up 1 tool per minute. And then since there's 5 up there, we only need 1 in here. So we'll put the 1 in there. We don't need to collect any drops or anything like that because silverfish don't drop anything. Now this thing is it's a little loud, so I'm going to turn down my block sounds. And the tridents are kind of loud too, which falls under player sounds, so we have that turned down as well. I'm going to put myself into survival mode. I'm going to turn this on. Going to turn this on. You see that one's working. You hear that one's working. The creaking's getting hit. I'm going to press the button right here. That gives them the potion, and you hear the silverfish dropping in. You see them dying. They are not collecting or accumulating. We have a good trident ratio top to bottom, and you can see the XP very quickly coming in. So again, a potion will last 3 minutes, meaning that you will continue to get these guys for 3 minutes. You don't have to run it for the whole 3 minutes if you don't want to. Just go ahead and shut off the top section there, and the silverfish will stop spawning in. So again, if you want this thing to be like stupid fast, go ahead and throw like the 27 or even more tridents in there if you want to. Mend up your tools in several seconds, and then just cut it off. Just don't leave it running. because you don't want the silverfish to accumulate, and eventually that potion effect will wear off. And just like that, we got ourselves 42 levels, which again would mend up 3 tools all the way to full from having no durability in them. Okay, so we're gonna make things crazy really quick. I put 200 in the top, 40 in the bottom. I rounded up a little extra just to make sure we don't have extra lag. And I just wanted to talk to you really quick about what if you try to go kind of high. Well, first of all, depending on your device, you may not want to. You may want to test this out in increments going up. And if you're wondering, how do I get so many tridents? Well, again, you can start out with just 2, 1 in the top, 1 in the bottom. That gets this thing working. But you can just farm up tridents over time manually, or you can make a trident farm, which is pretty easy to do on Bedrock Edition. And anyways, in all of the areas down here, we have double layered everything, because if you don't, when you start to run a lot of tridents to get a lot of silverfish, they fly out of everywhere. It's actually, it's even possible we might see some fly out here. Also, you see I have the solid blocks behind the pistons here. It's because if you don't, the pistons are moving so fast and the silverfish are so small, they kind of get sucked up in it and they get shot out the back. So when you have a solid block behind, that doesn't happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what happens here. I'm going to turn on the bottom, going to turn on the top. Oh my Lord. Okay, we're going to hit the button and hopefully, oh wait, let's before we hit the button, I'm sure you guys want to see how fast the XP comes in. Let's put ourselves in survival. I should have no levels. I don't. I'm going to press the button here. We're going to stand like right here so I can show you guys that I'm not getting hit. And look at all of that XP flow in. So we're already level 30. It's been like 3 seconds or less and we hit level 30. That's how fast this thing is. And I could throw in more. I'm kind of scared too, because I don't want to like ruin my device. Like I don't want to crash the game. But like 200 tridents plus 40 down bottom, 240 tridents is insane. Like I said, you'll get about 170, 175, maybe upwards of 180 levels with this, just depending on how lucky you are with the spawns over time. If I put myself in creative here real quick, you can see how fast they are spawning in. And you can see that we shouldn't be, did I lose? No, okay. I was about to say, did I lose one out the pack? I don't think so. You see, we're not losing any. None of them are shooting out. Now, I don't know if you'll hit a limit with, if you keep adding tridents, that maybe they will, but you can see all 200 of those tridents are hitting this creaking. You can't do this with anybody else. You can't do this with the armadillo. What is he? Armadillo? You can't do this with the Allay. The creaking is by far and away the absolute best way of doing this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Both those things help the channel out a lot, and they show me that you like this type of content and you want to see more. I'm seeing some glitching happening over here. I'm wondering if I'm building up too much XP. I'm gonna go ahead and back up here so I can collect some of it. I appreciate you guys watching today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.